first time in its 130-year history, the Salvation Army is taking its iconic red kettles virtual. Here with more insight on this move is Sacramento County Social Services Officer Lieutenant Larry Carmichael. Happy holidays, Lieutenant. Thanks for joining us.
Happy holidays, and thanks for having us.
So why did the Salvation Army decide to launch the virtual red kettle?
A couple reasons. One reason was that this year, like others, we can't put out as many red kettles as we normally would. Some stores don't feel safe with having that additional person in front of their store. Others, it just comes down to we don't have the staffing, we don't have the volunteerism to help man those kettles. And so we were looking for how do we innovate? How do we modernize this? Well, go online, create
Right.
the virtual red kettle. And then, of course, sadly, at the end of today, due to COVID, we find ourselves going back into a shutdown. And so, we want to create that experience at home of giving and teaching generosity to your future, to the later generations, or just have that experience for yourself. Especially if you're using Instacart or the Rayleigh's shop and pickup, etc.
Yeah, I mean, right now, thank goodness we do have a way to still be connected through the internet. And this is basically replicating the idea when you use the red kettle that we're used to seeing outside the stores. Who is this virtual red kettle going to help?
The virtual red kettle helps us not only provide toys and food at Christmas time, but it helps us achieve the mission across the year. The mission of housing folks, giving them rental assistance, utility assistance, keeping them warm, housed, and fed, as well as trained. Here in the Sacramento region, we have both a culinary training academy and a culinary arts academy to give people the skill sets that they need to further their lives.
That's awesome. Now, are you finding the needs of the community are different this year because of COVID-19?
Absolutely. Here, just in Sacramento, we are seeing a 220% increase in demand for need. What that computes to is that in a typical year, we serve 1 out of every 48 Sacramentans, which is a huge feat in itself. But this year, in 2020, we've served 1 out of every 15. So the need is there. The need consistently is there. So, whether you're giving a gift to the Red Kettle in person or virtually, it's going to the community that you give it in and to meet those needs.
And I know the Salvation Army annually really trying to make a difference. What are you guys having to do differently this year to meet that need?
Well, for certainly we're having to do more virtual fundraising. But, even when it came down to how we do our toys, in the past, we've been able to invite families into our different campuses across Sacramento, interview them, get to hear their stories. This year, that happened over an online application and a telephone call. Creating that safety for ourselves and our staff. And then out at the kettles themselves, we make sure that everyone has a face mask, they have gloves, that the kettles are sanitized in between each donation. Or if you don't have cash or change, you can now tap Apple Pay, Google Pay, or scan the QR code.
Oh, wow. Yeah, definitely good to know that there's options that you're still able to help. Now, if there's someone out there that is in need, how can they find some help?
The best way is for them to call 916-678-4010, leave a voicemail at one of the options, and a staff will get back in touch with them. They can also go to gosalarmy.org and find our different services center there. And if they're looking to give, virtualredkettle.org.
Yeah, and if they're willing, if they want, if you're in a position to help, I should say, and you want to contribute, you can find that red kettle online and contribute virtually. Lieutenant Larry Carmichael, thanks so much for coming on and telling us about what the Salvation Army is continuing to do this holiday season to support those in need. We really appreciate that. If you want to donate virtually, again, you can visit virtualredkettle.org.
This interview involves commercial content. The products and services featured appear as paid advertising.